They defaced the Pride Rainbow with a Bible verse telling the LGBT community that they do not own the rainbow, that God owns the rainbow. If I were a Giants fan, I would never attend a game again.
They defaced the Pride Rainbow. 4 words that I never thought I'd hear after 4 players on the San Francisco Giants wrote Bible verses from Genesis on their team-mandated Pride hats, where the Giants logo was turned into a magical rainbow. In response, Major League Baseball said, quote, "The writing on the cap violates our rules, and consistent with normal practice, we have warned the players about future violations." They also went on to say that the violation had nothing to do with the content of the message, which I just find hard to believe, because for years, players like our next guest have been writing things on their uniforms and their cleats, and the league never said anything. Only when it's a Bible verse is it suddenly controversial. Curt Schilling is a former Major League pitcher. He's a 3-time World Series champion. He's a World Series MVP. He should be in the Hall of Fame. James Uthmeier is the Florida Attorney General and is one of multiple attorney generals across the country investigating Major League Baseball. Curt, during the 2004 World Series, one of the 2 bloody sock games, you wrote KALS on your cleat, meaning basically strike out Lou Gehrig's disease. Did Major League Baseball have any issues with that after that?
That shoe right there is actually in the Hall of Fame. So, no, not at all. And
Okay.
Nothing was ever said.
Okay. Would you wear Pride gear if you were still with the
No.
Red Sox right now? They had their Pride night last night.
No. No, I would not. There's a deeper theological discussion here. I mean, if I asked you to make a prediction of something that you think is going to happen 50 years from now, the chances that you were right would be 1 in a million, right? 2,000 years ago, we were told this. Christians will be persecuted. They will be attacked. And all through Matthew and John and Timothy, that they made it, we will be hated by all nations. Now, listen, I'm a Christian. I'm deep in my faith. I expect it. This is not as surprising. And I promise you that those 3 guys that did this aren't surprised by it either. But I don't get, first of all, I want to see every legal thing that can happen in this case in defense of these players. And we've seen this, right? We saw the Tampa Bay players who refused to wear the jersey or the patch. But I promise you, if this was based on the Quran, or if this was based on Mormonism, and if this was based on any religion other than Christianity, that this would be no one would have heard anything about this.
That's a really good point. Like if a player wanted to wear a hijab under their hat, I don't think it would be an issue.
Right.
Mr. Attorney General, you tweeted that Major League Baseball is going to be hearing from your office. What is your plan here? Because you're the Attorney General of Florida. This happened out in California, and they were playing the Chicago Cubs.
Sure. Well, first, Curt's the man. It was an honor to follow him growing up.
Thank you.
So truly glad to be
At
here.
50 years from now, I can predict that he will be in the Hall of Fame. It should happen sooner. He should already be in. He should already be in. But 50 years he will be in.
From your lips to God's ears. Amen to that. Yeah, look, these sports leagues, it's supposed to be about fun, family, entertainment. And instead, they seem to continuously be pushing, compelling left-wing ideologies. And every time you hear these news reports, it's always condemning Christian views. This is wrong. Look, sports teams, private companies, they can set some uniform rules, but if they're going out of their way to target people on their deeply held religious beliefs, that is wrong and probably illegal. So I don't know what they're doing as far as the Florida teams go. I know the bounds of my jurisdiction, but you're darn right we're going to look into it and we're going to hold them accountable if they are breaking the law. So we're going to send them some subpoenas. We're going to ask questions. And at the end of the day, they're going to have to explain why in 2020 they can change their uniform rules to let people write things down about social justice and Black Lives Matter. But when people want to talk about life, creation, and redemption, suddenly there's a problem. That is wrong, and we're going to investigate.
Yeah. One of the pitchers, Curt, so Sam Henkes, said, quote, "It was just something I feel like I was forced to support when I don't morally support it. There was no hatred behind it, and I think that's being misinterpreted." And I think that's a great point. There's no hatred here. He just doesn't want to celebrate what people choose to do in the bedroom, which I think should be okay.
the hatred and the anger is 100% one-sided on every time this issue comes to the fore. I don't hate it. I have friends that are in the LGBT. I don't care about that stuff.
Right.
What I do care about is the precedent-setting hypocrisy. Players that put messages on their uniforms from a loved one passing to, after 9/11, I had stuff written on my hat. No one ever said a word, nothing.
Yeah.
And the only time this becomes something that you have to talk about is when a player in a sport, Harrison Butker for the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, look at the backlash to Christianity. Again, not surprising. I'm not playing victim, and we've known this. We've known this was going to happen, and we expect it.
Yeah, it's a good point. Think about Father's Day is coming up, and there'll be a player on Sunday with "I love you, Dad" or something somewhere on his uniform, and it won't be a big deal Monday. Maybe it will because of this. Mr. Attorney General, you mentioned the special logo they created when Biden was president in 2020. They declared themselves team allies to the LGBTQ+IA community. Can something like that be legally considered part of the Giants uniform? Like, if you work for a company, they can make you wear a uniform, but they can't necessarily make you do something like that and celebrate people's sexuality. Is that legally accurate? Does that argument hold up?
Companies do have some First Amendment rights. They can adopt uniform policies. What becomes problematic is when they go out of their way to target people on certain deeply held beliefs. And they got civil rights issues if they're going to go after people based on race and religion and faith. And at the end of the day, these are employees that are facing discriminatory restrictions. So look, they're going to save us some money in our prosecutions, because now we're going to be able to save money on the deposition rooms. We're going to have the NFL in one office and the MLB in the other, and we'll just bounce back and forth and make sure we're holding them all accountable. Trump, Vice President Vance said it well. Trump got elected. Maybe they didn't wake up to realize that they don't have to do this socially correct stuff anymore.
We don't
just
have to
make
do
money,
this anymore.
entertain, be family friendly.
Absolutely.
I have to say this. Why are these major league sports kowtowing to a minute percentage of their fan base?
Yeah.
An extremely minor. There are far more, by a factor of probably 100, Christian fans in all of these sports leagues than there are. Doesn't make them, the members of the LGBT, any less important.
Yeah, even in San Francisco.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants put out the statement, "We understand the choices made by individual players have caused pain and anger to many in the LGBTQ+ community, and we're sorry for that."
Really?
Like, what are we talking about?
Who's in pain?
Who's in pain? I don't care if you don't wear a hat. Curt, did you have 3,000+ strikeouts in your career?
I did.
Did you have, 216 wins?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and your wins above replacement, I think, is more than 50, right around where Pedro Martinez's is. What was your playoff record? Is it 11-2 or 11-3?
11-2.
11-2. Okay, you are a Hall of Famer. If any of these writers are watching, my God, right this wrong. Please write this wrong.
Yeah.
Curt Schilling, great to see you. James Uthmeier, we'll keep an eye on this. We'll keep an eye on it. Thank you.
Good luck, James.
Thanks.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.